Okay, so this week's book, audio book once again, because I'm a busy lady, so I don't really have that much time to sit down and read. And I'm so glad I did not sit down and read this book because this audio was super long. It took me a while to get through it, so the review might be super long as well. The audio book is called Money Master the Game, 7 Simple Steps to Financial Freedom by Tony Robbins. And let me warn you, it doesn't only cover 7 simple steps. The book is full of information. So basically, Tony made this book for the average American. This audio book, I'm gonna keep saying book because this is a book review, but basically he gives his life story involving money and how it affected him growing up. The story for some people might be inspiring. And then the extensive research part is mostly, so I wanted just to do the review and then do my personal opinion towards the end, but I might get a little mixed up. But basically the extensive research, one-on-one interviews is basically him interviewing financial experts, people who are well known in the financial field. And this includes Charles Schwab, Ray Dalio, Steve Forbes, and Carl Icahn. I don't really know too much about him. But the interviews I thought were random in the book, and I did not like listening to it. It would be like, Tony, so Charles, what do you think? What do you want to leave to your children? If you had to leave anything to your children aside from like money, what would it be? And then the person being interviewed, Charles, would say something like, "Oh, I'd leave them knowledge about blah blah blah." So I didn't like that portion of the book, and that one was towards more like the end of the book. And I mean, I didn't get anything out of any of those interviews. I guess he had to include it because it is advertised that Secrets from the World's Greatest Financial Minds, that's written right there at the bottom. So I guess he did have to try and include some of them in there, but I didn't really, I wasn't feeling that part. I mean, I found it extremely annoying. And then he gives tips, even though they're brief ones, on how to become financially free is what he says, but it's basically financially stable. So the book does cover like getting your financial house in order. It covers emergency funds, like having medical funds, paying off debt if you want, big expenses, saving for retirement. I think that one is touched upon a few times. Bucket list adventure, which that one was pretty good. Basically saving money to do the things that you've always wanted to do in your life. In his case, I think he said he wanted to buy an island, and then something about he mentions Richard Branson, I think the founder of Virgin Mobile, and how he bought an island. And I think Tony did say he bought an island. I don't remember where, but also that they because they wanted a dream home or something like that, they moved from where they were, LA, but that had more to do with taxes, to Florida, where it was nice tax, but they got exactly what they wanted in terms of like their dream home and blah blah blah. And then fund your life's vision, which is the example I just gave about the dream home. And then he does talk about some of the myths, but just to sum it up, so for example, when you go to a broker, invest with us, like they might tell you invest with us, we'll beat the market. They might say our fees, they're a small price to pay. They might say our returns, what you see is basically what you get. They might tell you, I'm your broker, I'm here to help you. All of these are so-called myths according to what's stated in Tony's book. Your retirement is just a 401k away. I hate annuities, and you should too. I did enjoy the part about annuities because a lot of people don't know much about annuities, and there are certain types of annuities that are very good to have. But I'm gonna get to the secret. But basically, in summary, most of what he's telling you is you're getting robbed by financial advisors, most financial institutions with their low interest rates on your savings and things like that. So you might as well not even save the money. And then of course the governments, you're getting taken advantage of by the government because they tax very heavily. So the tip that he gives, or the secret, is what most rich people do is they avoid these fees because the fees begin to add up, and they just minimize the other one, the amount of tax that gets taken from them. Okay, and then create so if you read like the snippet about it, like you'll get an idea of what the book is about. So the two parts that I found useful was create a guaranteed lifetime income that will even outlive you, and invest like the wealthy, where you participate in market gains. That one was towards the end. I'm not going to go into details about that, but the first one, like the create guaranteed life income, the secret of the affluence basically is, which I'm going to do more research on, but it's called private placement life insurance, or PPLI. And basically there's no income limitations, like unlike a Roth, where even though your money is tax-free, there's income limitation. There's unlimited deposit amounts, so you can deposit as much as you want into it. So it's like a safe place to put your money. There's no tax on growth, and when you access the money, there's also no tax. But for that one, he says that there is it has to be structured correctly. And then removing amount left for so basically after you pass away, whatever amount is left in that account goes to your heirs tax-free, like they don't get taxed on the money. So basically his biggest tip is to try and remove all your money from the tax system, and one of the most efficient ways and that most rich people use is through a PPLI. Again, that's called a private placement life insurance. This way you'll never pay taxes again. And then he calls this the rich man's Roth. The best CD for me was CD 16. I don't remember what chapter that was, so further along in the book, towards the end of the middle end, I don't know. But yeah, so that one talks about the PPLI, and then the last chapter, which for me was like CD 18, I was so happy to get through the book because it was so long. Yeah, so there's a lot more that goes in about PPLI, but I don't need to discuss it because I'm just talking about the book. And then so other topics that he touches on is science, technology, artificial intelligence, Silicon Valley, and then this stuff right here is mostly similar to I think that book called Abundance, The Future is Better Than You Think, and just saying how the future is going to be brighter, probably life is going to improve, but people, the job market is going to change, a lot of things are going to change, so we're going to have to change with the times. And then towards the end gets very general. He says how money impacts our psyche, like our mental health, our physical health, our relationships, and then like social concepts and behaviors. He touches on those. So many topics. And then metaphysics and laws of attraction. One example that I've heard before from, I think, another millionaire, Ty Lopez, is they love to use example of the very rich billionaire, but who is morbidly obese. And I need to like Google this person because I don't know who it is, but some Canadian guy. So ultimately, the wealth building journey final secret that he gives is that decision making is what's important, and not really money. It's decision making that leads to a legacy. So what you want to do is you want to build a legacy. And building a legacy is synonymous somehow with being wealthy, and that comes about through good decision making while you're alive. And then the three aspects of those that he talks about. So the three aspects of those that he talks about are focus. So focus on what matters to you, and cultivate gratitude during this time to a focus. And so he says, where focus goes, energy flows. Mission. So what is your purpose? What is your mission? find what it is. It could be something beyond yourself. And he gives the one example of the young lady, she's from the Middle East, Malala, and how she has been fighting for like education for young ladies and peace in her country. And then finally action and fearless action. So be fearless with your actions. So in summary, the secret is to live fearless, passionately, and with boundless gratitude. And focus on gratitude the most. Don't try to compare yourself to what others have and things like that. And he kind of gives that as something that, you know, helps with depression, because nowadays a lot of people are super wealthy, but then they're depressed and they're committing suicide. And he touches on the fact that you can have all the money, but if you don't have the happiness or the peace of mind, or if your life is not balanced, and the balance will have to be like the physical health, emotional balance, spiritual connection, loving relationships, purpose and meaning and mission, financial comfort, fun, and creativity. So financial comfort falls into that, but just having that alone is not going to make you a happy person. It's not going to sustain you. So my thoughts on this is, I personally, like I said, did not like the interviews portion of it. I didn't get anything out of it. It was just bothersome. I didn't like the fact that it was super long, over 1,000 pages. So I've seen, but you can look at the table of content. I think the table of content will give you the gist of the book, if you're interested. I didn't like the quotes at the beginning of every chapter, but I guess I'm like kind of over all the quotes things, and I really struggled to get through this. I wanted to give up on this book like at CD 8, but I'm glad that I made it through all the way through the entire book, because CD 16 and 18 were pretty decent and I enjoyed it. So, but the rest of it was such a struggle. And then I just felt like it was super long. It was all over the place. But would I recommend this book? Yes, I would, but I wouldn't recommend trying to get through it all at once. You know, because yeah, I'd recommend it, but I'd recommend skimming through it and then getting the parts of it that you find important out of it. That's it. So thank you.